Hi guys, it is I, myself, Taso the Starseed, the mythical Starseed.
That's right.
And you got Tori
Jae.
Jae.
We in here.
We in this video. Welcome to this week's podcast. We were just talking about healthy body, healthy mind, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we don't really address in our podcast or just in general. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, one of my friends, and we were talking about how the importance of eating well, you know. And obviously I'm by no means a perfect eater. God knows I eat junk on a regular, I eat sweets on a regular. This is why I've had multiple extractions, like I was just talking about. God will help me. But you know, I still eat chocolate bars I eat a lot of sweets and junks. I'm trying to cut them out, and I'm cutting them out. I'm substituting them for, you know, healthier fruits and stuff. But anyway, I say all of that because I changed my diet 3 years ago. 2019 now. Oh, it's been 3 years. It's 3 years actually on July 17th. It's not quite July the 17th yet, but soon. It might be out when we release this episode. But so I changed my diet, and I changed my diet because obviously I went plant-based. So completely plant-based. I don't eat any meat or dairy. Tori's the same too, actually. She went plant-based before me. She's always my inspiration, you know. But I went plant-based. And apart from the fact that my mind, the clarity in my mind, I felt like there was a fog over my mind before eating meats. Because when you think about it, because you're eating flesh and blood, right? And people get really irritated when I say that. We're not even really flesh, carcass, because it's dead flesh, you know. People get really, they're like, Tessa, don't say that because you're making people laugh. And I'm like,
rotting flesh.
But I'm just saying, yeah, do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, I was having a conversation with my friend before I digress. And we talked about eating well. And it's like, you know, eating life is all about a balance. And I said, it is a balance. But for me in particular, the reason that I don't eat it, apart from the health issues, well, health is the main reason. I need my insides to feel good so that my outside can feel good. It's important. It's a completely holistic journey. But we never really talk about the warfare, because we talk about psychological warfare, emotional warfare, physical warfare of white supremacy, the number one problematic system in the world as far as I'm concerned. But we don't talk about what they actually do to our food as well. And since we've been researching, and this is what I said to my friend, I said, you know, the reason I eat like this as well is because I want to go back to how my ancestors live. I do that with everything, down to my spirituality. I don't believe that my ancestors were stupid. I believe that they were very intelligent. You know what I mean? So I like to live in the way in which they live, not in the way in which white supremacy or colonization has told me to live. And eating meats and flesh and dairy products is something that the colonizers brought to us. Traditionally, ancestrally, we did not eat flesh. We did not eat animals. We lived in harmony with the animals. Right. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously eating flesh and dairy products has so many problematic things on the body. It causes it's like chaos on the body. Do you know what I mean? And so and that's another aspect. And I think I saw a video on Instagram and I was saying it to my friend, and it was, I think, wasn't it the Vegan Society? Let me not quote, it might not be, I sent you the video, I think you sent it to me even. And there's a guy there, actually, it's an annual forum that they have every year. And it was a lady, it was actually a white woman, and she was talking about the effects of eating dairy and how problematic, how basically forcing Black people to eat dairy and making it a norm is killing them, and it's warfare against us, because genetically speaking, our bodies cannot process dairy in the same way, dairy and meats in the same way which white people can. Right. So, and the thing is, it's not like they're not aware. They are aware of this, and this is why they push it more into our communities. And again, and so basically I was saying that to him and saying, this is an aspect of food or aspect of our oppression that we don't speak about, which is through food. So this is another reason why I chose to eat well, because it's just important. Like, if I'm trying to break all the shackles of oppression that comes from the system, white supremacy, I can't negate or neglect the food aspect of it. It's just as important.
Yeah, definitely can. Definitely can.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because like there's so many different layers to like how the food affects the body. You
Yeah.
have like obviously the physical, the very obvious one. And we're taught what health is in school, and we see it in magazines. They're like, eat lean meat, eat
Right.
meats that are easier for your body to process, like
Chicken,
fish and
white
chicken and
fish. Yeah.
turkey and things like that. They tell you that, and they tell you eat grilled meats, just don't eat it fried. And um, and they also say eat for your blood type, and they
I've
say
heard that a lot. Yeah.
a lot of people say that, and they say eat for your blood type, and if you have this blood type, you're supposed to eat these kinds of meats. And it's like when you eat meat, animal fat, it coats the cells like, so it's hereditary to have like diabetes and cancer and all of these other issues that we develop, high
Right.
blood pressure, high cholesterol. The reality is most of us eat the same. There's other things that can factor in and cause those problems too, but the main thing is the meat eating.
Right.
um if you remember the documentary What the Health. There was a doctor that broke it
Yes.
down really, really well. Like in the first little half of the documentary, he breaks down why it frustrates him when people think that they are diabetic because of sugar. And there's a couple of herbalists that I follow that break
Mm,
down that break that down as well. There's one herbalist named Yaki, and he does a really thorough breakdown of that as well. And they talk about how the animal fats basically coat the cells in our body. So when you're eating something that has sugar in it, what happens is um the sugar that's supposed to absorb into our cells, it can't absorb because you have like this gel like coating on your
mm,
cell that forms as a result of eating animal fat. And so what happens now, since the sugar can't absorb like it's supposed to from our foods, like natural sugars that we get from fruit or whatever,
right.
um, or even if you are eating like candy, like whatever sugar that is, it doesn't absorb because it just sits right there inside of your bloodstream and it builds up. And then you have your sugar levels now become high. And our body doesn't produce insulin the way it's supposed to anymore, because now your body is now thrown off and you're having to supplement with these artificial synthetic insulin and do all these other things to compensate. So it's like um, the issues that we have off of eating meat alone, we could decrease like 90% of that by just
Mm,
removing the meat alone. So now when you add to that like dairy, eggs, milk, and all these other things, like you can really learn to heal the body. Like there's nobody, you have these rare cases, right? But for the most part, when you have people who are in these dire situations and they're like, oh, I have nowhere else to go. The doctors are telling me that I can't do anything else. Most most of the time, people have to completely detox their body from absolutely
right.
everything. You have to fast. Whenever you're not eating, your body immediately starts to heal. So when you
Right.
sleep at night, your body starts to heal. That's why they say don't eat right before you go to bed. Most people think it's because you gain weight if you eat right before you go to bed. That's like the that reason doesn't matter. The best reason not to eat right before you go to bed is because now you give your body time to simply work on healing. But if you eat right before bed, your body's working on trying to break down food
Exactly.
and you're trying to rest. So it doesn't,
Right. Right.
it's not great for our body. So even learning those little things help. But
Mm,
on the spiritual side, removing those things from your body, it allows you to you connect different. You connect to your environment different, you connect to
mm,
people different, you connect to obviously animals different. Um, but in a spiritual way, you're able to open yourself up more. And those that do believe in um the Bible, or read the Bible or anything like that, you remember the story of Daniel and the
right.
Daniel fast, of the Daniel fast. And the whole
Mm,
point of that story was that Daniel was like, no, I want to stick to the original diet, and him and like a wizard and other people were chosen to interpret these dreams for the king. And the king was like, well, you guys are my interpreters, so I'm going to give you the best food, which is like steaks and all of this other stuff. Daniel was like, no, I don't want that. I just want to eat fruit. I want to eat raw food,
mm.
and he was like,
I
raw
didn't even
food.
know it was raw. Really?
Yeah, it's raw.
Taking us to school today. Jazz is taking us to school
Yeah,
for real.
he was like, I don't want to eat any no cooked food. It's just raw.
Mm,
And he was like, they're like, no, I don't know about that. And he was like, well, give me a trial. So he did it for a short period of time. I want to say it was 10 days. Don't quote me on that. But he did it for a short period of time. And he was like, well, just give me a trial. Let's see how I look and how I am. And if I'm able to interpret anything after that trial, and let's see how your other interpreters look. So he did his trial. He ate his raw food. And after that time period was up, they analyzed him and the other interpreters. And I think the other interpreters had aged. They looked older. They looked different. Whereas he looked like he was aging backwards. He looked younger. He had energy.
Right.
So then, the king was like, okay, fine, then do your diet, do however you want to do, as long as you can interpret my dreams, though. So he went on to continue eating raw for I think it's 21 days, as people say, how long the fast is, like 21-day fast. But he ate like that, and he was able to interpret the dreams like perfectly in a prophetic way for the king. And, the story goes on, but the whole point of that is just to show you the way that you're able to connect to spirit, the way that you're able to get messages from God. Now, God will speak to us and we can get messages even when we're, eating in the worst of ways and doing the worst of things to our body. But there's a difference when your temple is pure and clean. Imagine putting only like life inside of your body instead of death. And I even saw a science experiment. I got to find it. But there's a science experiment where they took, it's not an ultrasound. I don't know what the machine is called, but it reminds me of an ultrasound. So it basically takes pictures of food, and it shows based on color what frequency is emitting from that food. So you see like
something like that.
Yeah, you see like apples. Some of these vegan alkaline pages might have things like that, pictures of it on here, but it'd be like an apple or like tomatoes or like bananas or, really good high energy food. And the color that it will emit will be like blues and greens and like these alkaline colors. And the frequency is really high, how they measure the light that's emitting, the energy that's emitting from that fruit, because it's alive. But when you take a picture of like a piece of meat, the light, first of all, it's never that color. And it emits barely it really emits like no energy. And that's what we're putting into our body. And then we think that we're going to be able to function. That's and we've been taught that that's what health is. But the reality is, the more that I've learned, I mean, it's really a blessing, because I've learned that we really can heal ourselves. It's really, we have the ability to control some aspects of our health. There's other factors. There's the air, there's the water, there's stuff we put on our skin, of course. But at least in those little ways, we can kind of like improve our health, improve our mind, our thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jazz is taking us to school. I was literally, were you guys listening?
I felt like I was rambling.
No, bro, it was sick. Like, even when I said, come on, give us the scientific facts. What you mean? Like, I didn't even know about the animal fat coating the cells and stuff and making it difficult for the sugar. Yeah, like honestly, and even to add to that, when you spoke about the frequency of the food, where I always say, I don't know where I saw it, I got it from somewhere, and it spoke about how when you're supposed to put life into your body, right? You speak life into yourself, the plants, everything. You speak life. Life grows you, right? When you put a plant or a seed, when you're plant-based, you put that into the ground, that will sprout up. It will collect the nourishment it needs and it will sprout up and create life, right? If you put meat, flesh into the ground, it will rotten and decay. Your body is like soil. So if you're putting in meats, it's just going into your system and rotting in your system. But when you put in plant-based goodness, that energizes your system and makes you flourish. It's literally in the same way. You are like the earth. There's no difference. This is why, when they die, they said, how do they say it? Dust to dust, earth.
Yeah, and I know the saying. I don't know the saying, but I know the saying.
That's the point. And even to talk about healing yourself, right? It's powerful because we are healers and God has given us everything that we need to heal ourselves. I had a family member who was ill, had cancer, actually, fully had cancer, and initially started chemo. But, one of her other siblings is like a doctor, a naturopathic, is that the word? Naturopathic doctor? Anyway, nature. She deals with nature, natural remedies. And she was just kind of like, no, please try, don't let them give you this, change your diet. Let's see. She was fully in, like, her cancer was progressing a lot. She went raw vegan. This is literally in my blood. This is like my family. She went raw vegan. And I think they said she was only raw vegan for like a month. I mean, completely raw vegan. And she had the craziest herbs, things like lion's claw and, you know, like weird herbs. But she had done the research. Cancer reversed. In fact, the doctors didn't understand it. They did not. And my other cousin was saying how apparently she looked like a newborn baby. First of all, she looked like she was aging backwards. You couldn't even believe she had cancer, because at the end of the like 4-week raw, first of all, the cancer, she's still alive. The cancer's gone. She got rid of it by that diet. Seriously. The doctors couldn't even believe it because she stopped the chemo. When her other sister said, listen, this is not going to work for you. It's making you really, really ill. And apparently, like, even when they do the chemo, they make you go stand out in a field or something away from people. So how is that good for my body?
Right.
In the first place, if it's so bad that you can't have all of these people around me, and I mean, why is that good for my body?
Right.
You know, but yeah, she went raw vegan, and in 4 weeks, honestly, her cancer was reversed, and it blew the doctors' minds. They could not understand what was happening, because obviously if you speak to them, they're not going to recommend that to you. They're going to recommend, it's like they recommend everything but that. And I'm always like, but that should be the first call of action. Whenever you have any kind of illness, the first thing you should do is your food. And it's really difficult, I know, because I remember Jazz, before I went vegan, we both went vegan at the time, but Tori was a lot more health conscious than I was when it came to food. Well, at that time, yeah, I could care less. And I used to have issues with my stomach. I used to have IBS. And it's funny because I don't have it anymore. And I remember one time talking to Jazz, she'd be sick of me, honestly.
What?
I was complaining about my stomach. I was like, these times I'm eating like a whole tub of ice cream or something. I don't know. And I'm like, my stomach is hurting me. And you were like, what did you eat? Right. And you know, sometimes you're just not in the mood for the lecture.
You're like, I don't hear that.
So I said, I had ice cream, Jazz. And then you were like, I mean, you know, that is gonna, and I was like, that is not the reason. I just suffered from IBS. I've suffered my whole life. That's the cognitive dissonance. And Jazz was like, okay, that's your business, fine. Right. But it's the cognitive dissonance. I can say that was my cognitive dissonance blocking me from seeing sense, because I love to eat dairy ice cream. And, you know, the doctors have told me that I just have IBS. It's not to do with the food I'm putting in my system. You just get it. Bullshit. Because in the 3 years that I've gone vegan, I don't have IBS. I've stopped taking pills. Right. In fact, and another rumor that I hear all the time is iron levels. This is what I said to my friend during the conversation, because, you know, they said how they were severely anemic. And I said, well, my anemia was through the roof. I've been anemic since, I think I discovered I was anemic when I was about 17. I probably was anemic before that. And it was severely anemic because the doctors would recommend a blood transfusion for me at some points, and I'd always say no. I suffered from really bad nosebleeds. If anybody has seen my nosebleeds, they get really, it's not, you know, when I say I have a nosebleed, people think I'm just, no, it's a full-on hours of just bleeding. Thank God it's calmed down now. But and I'd have heavy periods as well. So my blood count was always low, either terribly low or at the bottom of the spectrum, you know, like the bottom of reasonable. And then when I went vegan, I think a year into it, I had a really bad nosebleed, one of my terrible nosebleeds. I had to go to the doctors, and I was so sure, because I've done it so many times throughout my life. Every time they test my blood, once I've had such a severe nosebleed that lasts for hours and days, my iron level is always terrible. The doctor tested me, because I said, test me, well, go ahead. They have to test me every time I go in there. Right. My blood levels were not only not low, they were high, normal, like the highest they have ever been in my life. Let alone after a nosebleed. And I was like, that is, and this time I'm not taking any ferrous sulfate, because, you know, they tell you take ferrous sulfate, all of these different things, you know, eat all of this meat and that meat. When you're plant-based, you won't get iron. My body is ironed up. I feel like Popeye. Like it's never ever been like that. And I realized that I was consuming foods that are rich in iron without realizing, like chickpeas, mushrooms, lentils, all of these things are rich in iron anyway. And they're better for you than animal fats, animal iron. Right. Iron that you supposedly get from, what is it, red meat as well, which is the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst for you. Like, it's definitely the worst meat for you. And that was my favorite.
Me
I was
too.
a heavy meat eater. I was a
Oxtail
really
and lamb.
heavy meat
You already
eater.
know.
Yeah, oxtails. Oh my God, oxtails and steak and lamb, girl. I was a steak girl. I was a steak
Yeah.
girl. And it's crazy because
Yeah.
I used to always say this stupid thing. I used to always be like, if I was a dinosaur, I don't know why I used to say that.
I'd be a
Stresses me out.
carnivore.
I would be a carnivore. I know I'd be a meat eating dinosaur. I love my meat. And if I was eating food, like if you know how you're getting full, if I'm gonna finish anything on my plate, I'm gonna
The
finish the
meat.
meat. Yeah, you're
You're
gonna
right.
finish the
Me
meat.
too.
Please.
Please.
Yeah.
I hear. Everybody knew,
But
but please, mom.
yeah, definitely finish the meat. But it's
Mm.
crazy to me because it's like I had no idea. One of the things that inspired me to try it in the first place was like at the time I was like, I've always been like a sick person, a person that gets sick very easy. Like
Yeah.
if somebody just sneezes in the room around me, I'm like, I'm gonna be sick. And
I
next thing you
remember.
know, I'm
Yeah.
sick. I would just always get so sick so easily. And I remember at one point not being able to go to the doctor, not having health insurance, and being like, I'm just sick all the time. And one time I caught a cold, girl, and that cold lasted me for, I feel like I was sick for over a month and I just
Mm.
cough and I feel like I couldn't breathe. I was really afraid. And you know what, to be
Yeah.
honest, it felt like if I don't know, I've never been diagnosed with like walking pneumonia, but if I had to describe what that felt like, that's
Yeah.
what I felt like. I couldn't breathe. It felt really
Right.
bad. But I just remember um just praying to God. I was like, God, please help me with my health. God, please, like, just make me better. And, you know, we just want God to just snap the fingers and you just wake up healthy. But I was eating really bad. I was eating a lot of fast food, a lot of greasy fried foods, a lot of burgers, a lot of just terrible stuff. And I remember
Mm.
stumbling across Dr. Sebi, and this is before he passed away. And I saw a couple of his videos and I saw a couple of other videos on veganism and I saw a couple of documentaries. And I was like, it won't hurt to try it. You know, it's not going to cost me as much money as it would cost me to go to the doctor.
Right.
So you mean to tell me just eating this way is going to like make me better? I'm like, let me try it. I've never heard nobody getting sick or dying for trying to eat healthier. So
Exactly.
I was like, I don't have anything to lose. So girl, I tried it. And I forget how long it was. It was just a random day too, because I was trying to make excuses when I first started because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it at the top of the week or at the end of the
Right.
year, the top of the year, or but then it was like at the time where there was a holiday coming up and I was still celebrating all these holidays.
Remember.
And I was like, November is coming up. So we got Thanksgiving coming up. And after that is Christmas. And I was still celebrating that. And I was like, oh, all the food on Christmas and New Year after that, and then my birthday after that. I'm like, man. So I was like, you know what? It's always going to be a holiday. It's always going to be
Yeah.
something coming up. So why not start right now in the middle of the week? I just like ran out of. I had just cooked like my last pack of chicken, and
Yeah.
I'm like literally needed to go to the grocery store. I had no more meat in my fridge, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go buy a bunch of veggies. And I went and I just bought every vegetable and fruit that I could think of. And I wasted a lot of money and a lot of food because I didn't know what I was doing. And, you know, I started reading and buying cookbooks and slowly trying to figure out how to just buy what I needed, how to learn how to cook certain meals, how to modify meals that I like to make them plant-based. And I realized, and it, you know, you start doing something and it doesn't hit you, but I realized I wasn't getting sick.
Yeah.
And what really made me realize it was true was at one point I was at work and all of the girls in my job had got sick. Like one girl had like strep throat or something crazy, something very
Mm.
contagious. And everybody got it. Everybody had to go to the hospital. And I was like, I know I'm next. I'm finna get it because I always get sick. And I did not catch it. I did not get sick.
Powerful. Yeah.
And it
Mm.
was that moment that I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. This is for me. And then
Yeah.
I just wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
And you know, it kind of makes me feel a way when I think back. You remember my friend Moan? I had a friend,
Mm.
I had a
I
friend
remember
that
her.
died when we were younger. She was like 23 at the time, 23 or 24 when she died. And I'm like 2 or 3 years older than her at the time. So
God, that was yeah.
yeah, she was so
Mm.
young, man. And I remember I just came back from Africa. And I remember her telling me she had doctor said that there's a lump. They're gonna go test it for cancer, and she thinks she might have cancer. And I'm like, girl, you're gonna be fine. I was so arrogant and nonchalant because I felt like you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
We're young, you're young. You're gonna be
Yeah.
fine. People beat cancer. And they put her on chemo. And I remember she was doing her chemo treatments, and I remember she was eating what I thought was eating good. She was still eating like, eggs and turkey bacon for breakfast, eggs and turkey
Yeah.
bacon, or she was eating a lot of fruit. She was juicing. She was drinking a lot of
Yeah.
smoothies. And I remember her saying, girl, I want a burger so bad, but I ain't gonna eat no burger. She wasn't eating burgers and fries, but she was eating lean meats. She was eating healthy,
Mm.
but she was also juicing a little bit and doing some smoothies. But I'm like, you know, I wish I knew then what I know now, because I'm like, she was trying and she was on the right path in terms of trying to incorporate the fruits and the veggies, but she really needed to cut out all of the animal products. She really needed to detox her body and alkalize her body.
Yeah.
And because disease just flourishes in an acidic environment. And even, my dad passed. So even with my dad passing, um, he had high blood pressure and he had high cholesterol. And it's like he need but his arteries were so clogged. The thing is, it's like he needed to completely detox. And I remember him trying to eat a little bit better, trying to
I
make those
remember.
transitions. And it's funny because when he passed, I remember going through his fridge and like cleaning out the fridge and stuff. And he had all these like plant-based meats and he was
Oh,
trying.
yeah.
But at that point, it was so far gone. And really those plant-based meats and stuff, they're
Terrible as well.
they're terrible for you because it's processed food. And for
Processed,
real,
yeah.
you don't really know what a lot of that stuff is unless it's a bean
Yeah.
burger that you
And it's a
making.
beanbag, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah.
And but when you're talking about like having a disease, something that you are dealing with, even beans is still starch. So
Yeah.
starch and sugar and animal products all create mucus. So you don't even want starch when you're trying to heal. You don't want
Right.
beans, you don't want rice, and you don't want
Right.
corn or even potatoes, which I
Yeah.
love. Those
Oh
all of
my
those things I
God.
love.
Potatoes are like I'm trying. God knows I'm
Girl, I
trying.
love potatoes. It's and beans and rice. Beans and rice, that's my
Right.
thing.
I'm telling you.
So it's like, I just wish I knew either how bad my dad's health was in terms of his arteries and stuff like that. And I definitely wish I knew what I knew now when mom was going through it. But these kind of things in my life, in addition to me like making that transition, just further confirms that I feel like I'm on the right path, which is why I'm raising my kids like that. They're
Yeah,
plant-based.
beautiful.
They were raised plant-based.
Forever.
Girl, and I love it. I love that
Yeah.
they know, like, if the weather changes and they're feeling away, they know, like, oh, mommy, I need some elderberry.
I literally hear them say that, by the way. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. They drink a lot of coconut water.
Seamas.
Yes, they take their sea moss. You wanna learn how to truly nourish the body. Our body is made up of
Yeah.
minerals, and we need to um eat those things. Those things need to
Right.
be incorporated in our diet, and not in synthetic pills. I'm not saying that you can't take a pill and have sea moss grounded up in a powder form in a pill, or bladderwrack, or all these other herbs, but it's really good to eat these things that we need. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And not through meats, because when you're eating meat and getting iron, as they say,
It's
through like
mucus.
red meats, for example, it's a byproduct, as in that cow might have eaten something that had iron in it, or might have been pumped with iron pills, which is more than
Mm,
likely the case. And so you're
mm,
getting a byproduct. You're not actually getting it, but the cow itself isn't eating meat, and it's a big animal. So is the gorilla,
exactly.
you know. In our teeth, the way that our teeth is shaped, we think that these are canine teeth. We call them
They're
canine
not.
teeth,
We
but
have
yeah, they're canine teeth.
we have
Teeth,
herbivore
teeth that
teeth.
are made to rip through animals, is teeth that like lions have. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Not teeth that we have. Our teeth are like gorilla's teeth.
Scientifically, actually
Yeah,
speaking, our teeth are actually those of plant eaters. We're not
plant
meat
eaters.
eaters. These are
Yeah,
not meat eating teeth. Yeah.
yeah, not
Like
at all.
scientifically.
Yeah, not at all. Go out in the
Yeah.
wild and try to rip open. I mean,
Yeah.
you might can, but
Probably
it
could. Yeah.
won't be that easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's important. Yeah, it's definitely
it
important,
is.
man. It's so
It
important
really
to watch
is.
what you eat. And at least, and we're not preaching, this is just our journey of
Hmm.
how, the things that we do and why we do the things we do. Um, and it's just like you said, it also gives you a different kind of, I think, eliminating the meats, especially because the meat is just, again, I can't reiterate, the flesh and the blood.
Mm.
When you really think about what you're eating, Of course, because it's hard to think like that because society has told you that it's normal. I mean, my mom used to call me Hannibal Lecter because I was such a meat eater, like soya. Don't try me and soya blood, God. But I cannot explain the clarity that my mind has since going plant-based. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm just able to, like you were saying earlier, I can pick up on different sorts. I see clearer. My mind is clearer. There's not so much of a fog in my mind. And the illness too, that was another thing. I noticed that with you. I don't know how many months she was plant-based before I joined her, but I remember thinking, God, Jazz, because I was a sickler too, always sick. So I'm like, oh my God, Jazz is not sick anymore. Like she really isn't. And that's the same thing. I promise you, when I went plant-based, I've been sick since then, unfortunately. But for like the first 2 years, I wasn't. It's crazy. And then I was only sick last year because a lot was going on. And I think I can count. It was like twice I've been sick.
Right.
In 3 years, I've been sick twice. This is I actually had pneumonia. It wasn't even walking pneumonia. I actually had full-on pneumonia when I was like, I don't know, how old was I? I don't know. I had it in my 20s anyway. I had chest infections all the time. I was famous for that. And my stomach aches, I just was not well all the time. But since I've been plant-based, honestly, I'm very rarely ever ill. And if I have some issues now, it's the issues that were caused by my lack of eating well that I'm even trying to reverse now. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, honestly, I can only just preach like how amazing it is for us and how good it is for your health, you know. And yes, I know there's so many people out there that tell you, like just said, eat for your blood type. You know, you need, another one I hear all the time is protein. Come off it. There's loads of
plants. You can only get protein from plants.
Like literally.
You can only get protein. Protein is amino acids. You get that from plants.
Period.
Yeah.
Like it's a myth that they're selling you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as well when people say that because, I mean, even when I go to pick up vegetarian things, people say, that's vegetarian. I know. That's what I wanted. It's like, do you know that that's not the right thing you're taking? I know. I know what it is. But they just have this, I'm thrown off again. I've been thrown off. I don't remember what I was trying to say.
Right. That's okay, because I got one for you. even because you had mentioned the myth, even the milk myth. The milk myth. I remember growing up hearing got milk does the body good. Maybe breast milk, but or
the only
or coconut milk. But
literally.
But like milk, there's a study that shows like children that consume, even adults, but children that consume animal milk versus children that are drinking predominantly plant milk.
Oh, plant milk, right.
The plant milk children have stronger bones than the other children. The other milk, the animal milk causes inflammation in the body, all kind of other issues, you know. And it's funny to me because like when you really think about it, it's like we've just been completely deceived in terms of our health. I would just advise everybody to like really do your research. Eat how you want to eat. You have to be ready or want to get on that journey. But you know, if you're somebody, especially if you are a person of color, you know, and we have these things that run in our family, which means you probably eat like your family, your parents, eat like them. You're gonna develop these issues over time. And when these issues develop, the only thing that a doctor is gonna do is put you on medicine, because most of these issues, they tell you that there is no cure. There isn't a cure, because the only thing that you can do is remove it from your diet and detox your body and allow your body to heal itself. The same way, if you get a scratch, your body you won't bleed forever. Eventually it heals and it covers itself up. Our bodies were designed to heal, even on the inside, not just on the outside. So if you're giving it the proper things for it to heal and function like it's supposed to, it works right. Like I remember asking a group of kids, they were drinking some soda. I remember asking them, would you put soda inside the plant, go water the plants with soda? They were like, no, that might kill the plant. Plants need water. I'm like, right. So why would you give the plant something better than you would give yourself? You weren't designed to drink soda anyway. That's just a bunch of chemicals. All of this is created in the lab. It's not coming from God, you know? So I would say just do your own research. Just look into it. Humor yourself. Try it out. Just
and check
it out.
And
do what you want to do. But I would also say even look into I got to give Dr. Sebi another shout out, because
Yeah, man.
one thing that I really respected about him as well was um he got arrested and he had to go to the Supreme Court. He represented himself in the Supreme Court, and he's never been to school. And the judge told him to, you're claiming to have healed people, and there's no cure for these things. So if you've healed people, bring one of each of your patients, because he had said he had healed somebody from sickle cell anemia, from diabetes, from cancer, from AIDS, from herpes, a blind patient, a paralyzed patient, all of these different issues. They said bring like one of each, bring like eight or nine patients. He brought like 70 something. I don't want to quote, it's 73, 74, or something like that. He brought 70 something patients up in that courtroom. People who had been diagnosed by doctors with doctorates, who had gone to prestigious schools and were told, you have this disease. And they went to him, they were healed, and they went back to 2 and 3 and 4 different doctors to get verified that their body was completely healed. He walked up in court like a boss, like, look at it. So in my opinion, when it comes down to health, like I said, like we just said, do your own research, take your time, look into different things. The body is so magnificent. Like it's a temple, and I remember hearing as a child, there's life in the blood, especially from a lot of my family members that are really heavy in the church. There's life in the blood. And I'm like, think about that then. If you believe that there's life in the blood, you're consuming animal blood.
Right.
What kind of life, what effect do you think that would have on you? It'll give you like animal-like tendencies.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you really think of it from a spiritual way. But like I said, just it's good to do your own research. I wouldn't tell anybody to do something that they're not really interested in or really want to do. You have to live your own life for you. But it's something that it's worked for me. My children never get sick. If they catch a cold being around somebody or with weather changing, they're over it in a couple of days. It's really easy to learn how the body works. And I think that's the most important thing, is just really learning how your body it's just really learning how your body works and learning how to nourish your body in a proper way outside of what we've been taught. Because more than anything, I know you mentioned white supremacists, they're living in this white supremacist structured country anyway, world,
to be honest.
In this world. It's like one thing that we have to remember is this is a world that was not designed. I take that back. After colonization and slavery, we were not taught to flourish, or not intended to flourish in any way. So everything that we've been taught is given to us to make our lives worse in every way that it can, whether that's in our opportunities, in our justice system. So why would we think that these people are teaching us about health for real? Why would we think that they actually teaching us how to nourish our body? Like these are people that saw a cow feeding its baby and goes, I want to drink off that cow's titty.
Right.
Or you saw a chicken lay an egg and you go, let me eat that.
Right. And it's not like they're not aware. I think that they're very aware of the thing is, because people, again, like the last episode, people will talk about, but why would they do that? I mean, the pharmaceutical industry is a billion or not $1 trillion industry, right? And they can only run if we are sick, period. That's the reason. So they need to make money off of you. Right. So when you think to yourself, but why would they do that? They will need you to be sick, because if you're not sick, they cannot make money. These are the people who did, I don't know which one of the names. I don't know. Let me not quote wrong. I think it might be Rockefeller or one of the Jewish big dogs. The opioid crisis in America was caused directly by them just to make money. They knew that it wasn't good. They knew it was terrible, but they pumped it out because it made them $1 billion. And they got so many people addicted to it. And nothing happened. Because they can just pawn and play with our lives. So you have to, this is the reason why things like this happen. It's not, but why would they do that to me? because they want to make their money, and you're literally just disposable to them. So they benefit off of you being sick. Even the breakfast, about breakfast being breakfast never used to breakfast used to be fruits.
Right.
But then I think there was we need to be coming with the dates. You know, we do a lot of research and it stays in our minds, but sometimes the dates go.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who was at the breakfast. I can't remember his name, what year it was, but they decided that they wanted to push eggs and bacon. They wanted to use them. So they decided to say that a healthy breakfast was eggs and bacon. And they got like 5,000 doctors or so to sign this so they could push it through. But they did that by paying them. It was not scientifically good for our bodies. They know it's not good for our bodies. We don't eat eggs and breakfast. You're supposed to have a light breakfast because it's breaking fast.
Yeah.
So you put fruits into your
break
body
your fast
to break
with
fast.
fruit, water.
Water, teas, things that make sense, not the things that will slow down your system and break you down. But they do that because it's beneficial to them. Do you know what I mean? So you need to just take back your power and be like, oh, well, actually, this is not good for me. So let me try this.
Especially if you're having any issues. If you're having any issues, stomach issues using the bathroom. I have a lot of friends that say that when they on the toilet for a while, when they're trying to use the bathroom, it's like, your body's backed up, you know?
Yeah.
Drink some green
juice.
Juice.
To me. I mean, that was me. That was,
drink
guys,
some green
honestly,
juice. Yeah, my kids have never been constipated ever.
Ever.
And I know a lot of people, their babies get constipated drinking like, the milk formula and eating certain foods. And it's like, of course that stuff is gonna back them up, But when you're having those kind of issues, even if you don't say, hey, I want to jump out there and be like completely plant-based, try little things. When you get sick, whenever you're feeling sick or feeling away, try to limit the animal products. Reduce the animal products as much as possible if you can, and eat drink smoothies, eat salads, eat fruit, eat whole fresh food, raw food if you can, as much as you can, especially when you're sick. Or if you're having stomach issues, drink some green juice, drink some fresh juice. Don't have any heavy meats or anything like that, and you'll see that constipation will relieve itself. You'll see the cold or whatever it is that you have, you'll get over that a lot quicker. Just try those little things during those times. And when you start to see the results, you make the decision for yourself if you like it or if it's something you think you'd want to continue. But we have to protect ourselves and we have to work on ourselves as a people.
Important. The body, like, we can't neglect the body, especially internally. And even earlier you mentioned about the skin, and that's another thing I was talking about. The skin, for example, like, people will say, oh my God, she's got such nice skin. And when I was obviously, thank you.
You do. You always have.
But like, people will talk about I used to put all kinds of lotions on my skin or whatever as well. Like, I love it. I love the fragranced ones. But then again, a couple of years ago, I made the same transition and I went from using lotions and all of these different types of Doves and Niveas to just using oils, straight oils, and obviously out of the shower wet. So I would come out of the shower, my skin is still damp, and then I'll put coconut oil or olive oil, because that's me feeding my skin. I'm feeding her with, because your skin is the biggest organ in your body. It's huge, and it's a huge sponge. Do you know what I mean? These are all the things, that add to your overall health without even realizing. And it's only like, it doesn't even seem like a major change. So you think, it's not going to make a difference, and I don't want to be oily and da-da-da. Your body will thank you for it, because the things you're putting in your skin penetrate into your system and into you, and it fucks up with your mind as well, and it fucks with your internal.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And even down to deodorant. You're the one who got me on deodorant. My deodorant changed. Down to, I had an issue with my left armpit. I used to say it all the time. When I was like 18, I cut myself shaving, and honestly, there was nothing I could do to get rid of the odor. It would just smell all the time. I was such a deodorant freak. Like, you would never catch me without deodorant. I would use a stick, the white stick, and then I'd use a spray to seal it in order to make sure that I was smelling fresh, because nobody wants to smell. It's like my biggest nightmare. And then and obviously, but deodorants I know are really problematic for you. And in fact, it was getting so bad. I remember buying this one deodorant. It was actually really expensive, and it's an aluminium one. And I remember putting it on my skin, right? It blocks the aluminium. I can't remember what it was, but it's an aluminium one. I'm sure it's terrible. And it blocks, so basically it stops you from sweating for like a week.
Antiperspirant.
Yes, but it wasn't just your regular Shore one. It was, the strong ones.
Yeah.
And I remember, so you put it on and it's supposed to block you for a week. And when you're showering, you can even feel that it's not gone, even though you're trying to get rid of it. I remember it would burn my armpits. So I knew it was bad for me. And it was horrible. It didn't even really work that well. It worked for the first couple of weeks. I remember talking to you about it again. Jazz, my health guru. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you know what, just try lime. And I was like, lime, because at this point I was using coconut oil. I'd stopped using the deodorant and was trying to use coconut oil, but it just wasn't working for me. It wasn't enough for the kind of what I was dealing with.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, Jazz, man, the coconut wasn't working. You were like, just try lime. Try the lime. Put the lime there because it kills the it'll work, and use coconut afterward. And I was like, it's really not gonna fucking work, but fine, I'll try it. Because you ain't got no choice. I'm like, flipping out, let me just try it. Oh my God, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Ask anybody that talks to me. In my fridge, there's always lime, or I use lemon. Lemon is actually just as good, although I prefer lime because lime is alkaline, but lemon does the same thing. I promise you, I do not, from a girl who would never leave the house without deodorant on, like I'm not joking, or without deodorant in my handbag, because please, everybody knows Tessa's got deodorant. Mm-hmm. I will wear my lime in the morning and I'm good to go for the day. Mm-hmm. In fact, it takes days before I even start to smell now, which is mind blowing. Like for some, I didn't think it was possible, because I'm like, no, natural stuff doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Oh my man, it blew my mind.
half of that is what we're eating. So half of what we're eating is oozing through our pores. And then like the other half is just, the reality is these glands right here under our arms, we're supposed to release from our glands. Right, certain glands we're supposed to release. Exactly. Like we have these toxins. That's why we sweat. We have certain glands, certain things that want to release from these glands under our arms. And when you're putting antiperspirant on your arm, with aluminum in it, God, what happens is it immediately stops your body, it stops those glands from doing what it's supposed to be doing. So then you get backed up. So then these toxins that are trying to come out they sit there. So when you like cancer, most women that develop breast cancer and men from here, it starts under here. And I've had times where I've used deodorant because I used to be heavy on, like, I love fragrance too. I always love like heavy fragrance. But whenever I would do it, every now and then I would get a lump. My arm would be sore.
Me too,
every now and then sometimes I'd have to switch deodorant for a second, switch it up, and then it would go down after a while, and then it would always come back. So it's scary to think of what my body was saying to me at that time. But like when you really pay attention, your body gives you signs. Like you get a headache. Sometimes it's because you're not drinking enough water, or it could be stress. It could be a number of other things. But our body is really like a car. We got our check engine lights. Like you're feeling lumps under your arms. What are you doing? Are you putting deodorant on? Does it have aluminum in it? Is it antiperspirant? You don't need those things. And if you're going to use an actual deodorant instead of using like lime and coconut, use a natural one. You try to use natural soaps. Yeah, like salts of the like you said, use oils on your body, natural butters on your body. I know we love our fragrances. Try to limit it, maybe just for a special occasion, but try to limit it, because those things are endocrine disruptors. And I used to be really funny about spraying things on my clothes. I want to mess up my clothes. Yeah. I want oils and stuff on my clothes, but now I'd rather spray my clothes than my body.
My body, me too. Yeah.
So if you're gonna use something, if you got something that you're gonna have on you, a little scarf, spray that. Yeah. If you must, but try to avoid putting these things with these chemicals in it and these fragrances in it on your body. It completely throws us off. So
it does, man.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, man. We just wanted to bring you a little our little routines, our health routine. Because why do you guys glow so much? This
is fluoride-free toothpaste. And fluoride-free toothpaste.
That's the last one. And fluoride-free. I'm telling you, Jazz be getting me all the way together, because again, I'm pretty sure from my veganism, but let me tell you what she's done, right, guys? I'm going to give you a little breakdown. So no, I'm serious. From my hair, the hair guru, I'm telling you, she's like a beast with it, because even the hair thing, like we said in the episode, I was just watching her. I remember being on FaceTime and she was like, I'm going to cut my hair off. I'm going to cut it and I'm just going to start. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah. And I remember the journey of going natural and then stopping, straightening the hair and watching her hair grow from the love that she was giving it. And I'd be like, I don't have hair like you. And she was like, oh. You don't need to have hair like me, but your hair can grow. Trust me. And I was like, no, it can't. My hair is not. Hello, I'm sorry, baby girl. My hair is really flourishing. You guys, honestly, you don't even understand the level of flourishing. And this is from her consultations, not even in person. This is just me and her talking on the phone by FaceTime and me watching her. And then she was like, oh, I'm going to go vegan. You know, I'm going to try because my health. And it was because of her health. I remember her saying that to me. And I don't even know how many months it was or how long it was that she went vegan then. And I was like, well, if she can do it, I'm going to try it too. And then I did it too. Do you know what I mean? And then even like I said, the lime, it was her. And she was like, try the lime. And then the fluoride-free toothpaste. Because obviously we do a lot of research in general. And we're the kind of people who like, if we see the research and we see that it's good for us, we're gonna adopt it. Right. Because the goal is always to be better and to truly look after yourself. You know what I mean? So even if it's difficult, if this is good for me, I want to be the best version of myself. So I'm doing it. Right. So yeah, the fluoride-free toothpaste, it was because of her. I've used the same fluoride-free toothpaste. In fact, I was fluoride-free before I went vegan because I've been using the same toothpaste for like 5 years now. Yeah, I think we did that first. I've done that. Yeah, that was before veganism even. But first of all, look at my lashes. They're not shiny.
I know that's right.
But yeah, because fluoride is deadly for you as well. Like it also calcifies the pineal gland, amongst other things. You don't need fluoride. They tell you need it. They even try to put it in the tap water nowadays, don't they? And so
they do. It's in our water,
Yeah, and you don't need it. So yeah, fluoride-free toothpaste, guys. Try and invest in it. Like, just look after your health.
Look after your health, man.
Look after your health, man. Like,
one step at a time.
Research. And that's all it is. All of these little changes that we made, like I've said to you, it's gradually. It wasn't all at one day.
But once you change one thing in your life, you start to want to change other things.
Yeah.
And I've had some people say things to me like, you know, I love food too much, or I'm a foodie, or, you know, I know some people eat to live, but I live to eat. You know, I hear people say things like that. Like, if I'm gonna die anyway, then I want to, and I get it. Because I would have said something like that back in the day. I get it. So you do have to live your life and be true to you if that's what's important to you. I will say on the flip side of that I've unfortunately witnessed a few people that I love terminally ill from things that they might have been able to change. And to live that kind of, to die in that kind of traumatic way and live that kind of quality life. If there's a way to avoid that, now we can get in a car accident, some freak accident could happen, anything can happen. But if there's any way that I personally can control my quality of life, how long I'm here, there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in my life. And, you know, I don't know when that time is going to come, but I do know that if I can make that time count while I'm here, and it's like, if you're going to be here anyway, and you're going to try to enjoy your life and just live how you want anyway, you can either spend the money, because the other excuse is that it's expensive to eat like that, but you can either spend money on good herbs and on fresh food, on good, healthy, healing food, or you spend money in doctor's pills and on medicine. And the people who live on that other side of it, I've seen people up close, like I said, live like that, and it doesn't seem like fun. And it seems like a very painful and torturous way to leave this earth as well. So, like I said, if I can avoid that in any way, I'm gonna try.
Right.
You know, I'm not perfect. I still eat a lot of things that cause mucus, that cause problems in the body. Baby steps. Baby steps.
It is baby steps.
Baby steps.
Every night, literally, it's baby steps. You know what I mean? Like, it really is baby steps. And honestly, what you realize once you start to eat better for your body is that I feel like your taste buds change. Like, for example, I used to hate ginger. I hated ginger with all my. To be fair, I still don't really drink ginger ale or eat ginger biscuits, but I put ginger in almost, I would say, 70% of my cooking. I have to have fresh ginger. I like to use fresh ingredients to cook anyway because it tastes better for me. But
way better,
like, and even tomatoes, so many things that my little Philistine mouth that was just so poor thing. It had no kind of like health behavior. It just loved crap. Yeah, could not stand. I love it now. When I'm eating my foods now, like before, I wasn't so. I don't know the word to use. I guess the word would be so. strong in the kitchen or confident in the kitchen. I think when you get into your 30s, you kind of get a lot more. If you're not, you tend to get a bit more confident in yourself in that way. But I wasn't so strong in the kitchen anyway. But once, and then I went plant-based. Oh my God, I feel like I'd be chefing it up. All of my foods, I've learned how to, well, the majority of them, I've learned how to make them plant-based, first of all. And in my opinion, they taste so much better. Now, I understand you might not feel like that, because before I was plant-based, I was like, yuck. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't stand that. Where's the meat? Give me that rubbish.
Right.
But then I went plant-based, and I feel like my taste buds changed, and I can now appreciate how good food tastes. I feel like good food tastes good. I think it's a myth that, you know, like when we teach kids, you hear them saying, don't eat Brussels sprouts. Okay, if you're going to eat your Brussels sprouts, if you're going to eat your vegetables, I'll give you a sweet treat. You're already indoctrinating them that this food that is good for them is not good, doesn't taste good. But it does taste good. It's not punishment. Eating fruits and vegetables should never be seen as punishment, like, because they taste good. That's why the Most High created them. I remember eating a sour sop in Nigeria, and honestly, nearly brought me to orgasm.
I know that's right.
But I swear,
I know that's right.
I shut my eyes and was like, oh my days, this comes out from the earth for me to eat. Wow. So yeah, guys, man, like Jazz said, one day at a time, and your whole body, your mind, everything will change. You will adapt to it, because I mean, when you're looking after yourself, it feels good. It's like going to the gym. Before you start going to the gym, you're like, oh, this is so long for man. But the more and more you go, you start to feel good. You release the good hormones that make you feel good. Your body starts to feel better. You start to look better. And you just know that this is a lifestyle thing that you want to keep up, because it's good for you. Right. And those who don't go to the gym, I never used to go to the gym, but now I do. I go back and forth, but now I do. And I love it. I would look before and be like, oh God, you're crazy, because you're not doing it. But once you actually do it, and it becomes, you do it for a while, it's like, oh wow, this is great. I can't even live without this. So yeah, man, one day at a time, sweethearts, one day at a time. This is what we do. These are because it's a body, healthy body, healthy mind. You know, everything is
mind, body, soul is connected.
Mind, body, soul. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not really looking after, that's personally why I look after my body, or I try to look after my body. Of course, yeah, when you're doing that, you end up, you look good and you feel good, right? But the bottom line, the main reason for me is not really even the vanity aspect of it. It's just because I really want to give myself the best chance at this life.
Right.
And the only way for me to do that is if my vessel is in good condition. You know what I'm saying? That you can't, what did I read? I read, you can't put sand in a car and expect it to run. It's not going to run. You have to put fuel. Same thing with your body. If you're not putting the right things in your body, it does more than it affects you in ways you can't even imagine. Right. Even now when I eat sweets, and I know better because honestly, I've got such a sweet tooth, I know how I feel afterwards. I feel terrible.
Right.
I feel sluggish, and I'm like, it's like a crash. It's like your body crashes.
Yeah, it does. You know? It does. You feel bad immediately. Every now and then when I get a sweet tooth and I decide to give into it, I do feel terrible afterwards.
Yeah.
But I notice also you crave what you eat. So when I'm eating bad, I crave a lot of bad. And that means that there's parasites forming in the stomach telling you, ooh, eat this. But when I'm not eating those things, like I'm going through a moment like that right now, like, and I love my sweets, but it was somebody's birthday at work the other day. And one of the girls, she had some sweets. So I ate some of it and it was so sweet. But I ate some of it and I guess because I hadn't been eating it and I had just juice. I had a lot of juice in the house. So I've been drinking my juice and my body just was not craving it. And I didn't give into it because sometimes when I force it and I try to eat more, my body will go, okay.
It's worse. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it. Let's do
tripping.
This. Right. But I kept eating, I kept drinking my juice and the juice is so sweet. I had juice and watermelon.
Well. Good.
Yeah, watermelon is in season right now. So I juiced a bunch. I've been juicing watermelon regularly lately. And it's so sweet. Yeah. Like it's almost like, God, that's sweet. Yeah, it's almost it's borderline. Like, did you put anything in this? It's so sweet, but it's not as naturally sweet. And that's all the sugar I need.
Exactly.
That's all the sugar I need.
Yeah, like definitely. That's what I do as well. Like I've been trying. In this country, it makes it quite hard for me. I can't lie. The UK fruits make me sick to my stomach. Like in Nigeria, please. Like pineapples, especially. Oh, I know
Mm.
they're not great, but I love pineapple.
Ew, I just juice pineapple too. I love
Oh my
pineapple.
God. Like, but yeah, so a lot of the
Yeah.
fruit is a fantastic alternative.
Yeah, it is.
When you're craving sweet things. Honestly, it's fantastic. It tastes sweeter than the sweet things as far as I'm concerned.
It
And your
does.
body thanks you for it. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
In a good
Yeah.
way. Sometimes
In
I'll
a
put
good
the
way.
sweets in my mouth. To be fair, I say I'm sweeties. I'm more chocolate these days, but I put the sweets in my mouth. Like I used to love Haribos.
Mm-hmm.
But then a while back, I tried to eat some and even Skittles. And all I could think of, I was just like, this is not
Tastes
food.
fake. Yeah, don't it
It's
just
so
taste fake?
fake.
It
Yeah.
just
And I was
tastes
like, I
fake.
can't believe I'm putting this in my system. What
And
the
it
hell is
takes a
this?
while to get up to that point because I've been eating sweets throughout this process. And not even that
Yeah.
long ago, but it's been I've intentionally not had sweets for a while. So now the last couple of times
Too.
I've tried to, I'm just like, let me eat a piece. My
Yeah.
body's just like,
What the hell is this plastic? It's like
It
plastic. It's
tastes
just
like
a
plastic.
foreign,
Yeah.
just weirdness in your mouth. And it's
Yeah.
like, what? Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
your body will start to reject it slowly, slowly. But it's down to you. Do you know what I mean? You just have to make the
Mm-mm.
choice. Like if you do, it's not for everybody, I guess. Well, it is for
Mm-mm.
everybody, but not everybody wants to do
Not
it.
everybody. Yeah.
But if you want to, I hope we've given you some tips, on how to just sort of start and don't beat yourself up too much. Like this is a
No.
constant process, who knows, maybe in a couple of years we'll come back and say, guess what? We're finally raw vegan
Mm-hmm.
10 years later.
And I want to add before we wrap too, like, when I first started, Zion is 4 now. So when I started, it was before I had him. It was before I had Zion. And when I had Zion, I went through this period where I was losing a lot of weight. After I had him, and at this point, he's still a baby. He was still breastfeeding, and it was before I had my daughter. So I was still breastfeeding, and I was thinking, oh, is it because I'm plant-based and I'm breastfeeding? I was just losing weight, dropping weight. It wasn't. It was because I was stressed. I had a lot of stress going on at that time, but I was thinking, oh man, at one point I went to the doctor. I was dropping like large amounts of weight, and I'm a small person, so you could very easily see it on me. I look sick,
Right.
and I was like, it just got to be the meat. Everybody around me was like, you need to eat meat, and I got afraid. I relapsed. I ate meat several times,
Yeah.
and so what then happened was, I continued to lose weight. And then I was now also getting sick because my body was used to not having that level of mucus in me. So I realized that wasn't working. So, and it was simply just the stress. So I obviously went back to eating how I was eating. And another misconception is, people feel like it's easy. Those who choose to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever, they make that
Right.
transition. It's just easy, or you just don't like meat. I'm like, I never woke up one day and was like, ugh, I don't like the taste of meat.
Loved it.
Yeah,
Are you
loved it.
kidding me?
Loved it. I definitely loved it. I never woke
My
up and felt
steaks,
like
she was
that.
literally my steak sister. Like,
Yeah. I would smell it and be like, oh,
ugh.
I could smell it, smell the seasoning and stuff, the grill. But it's two things for me. I don't like to feel like something is stronger than me. Something has more control over me than I do,
Right.
especially if I know that this is for my better good.
Right.
I like to feel like I have self-control. And also it's just simply me wanting to grow and wanting to be better. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter how good it is. There's a lot of things that may be good, but it's not good for you.
Exactly.
So those are the kind of things that helped me. It takes discipline, it takes self-control. And we look at that like a bad thing, like you're not giving yourself a treat, but the reality is
It's
you are.
love.
Yeah,
It's
you're giving
love.
yourself real love. To tell yourself no, like think about it. People who have kids, right? You don't let your kids eat ice cream for dinner or silly things like that, like or candy all day because it's not good for them, right? And so when you tell them no, you're telling them no because you're looking out for them. So it's like telling yourself no is you showing yourself love. It's not
Right.
always like, you keeping yourself from something that you think you want. It's like, no, it's just called discipline. And it's
It
okay
is,
to have
yeah.
discipline. It's okay a lot of us weren't taught discipline or
Exactly.
self-control. It's okay to learn that. and teach yourself how to be okay with that and sit in that. The more you do it, the more you conquer that part of yourself, that animalistic instinct to just indulge in whatever it is that you want, the more you realize it'll fall over into other areas of your life. You'll start to have more control and discipline in every other area. So it's a really beautiful thing to tap into. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, try it, guys, man. I'm telling you, like, I can't think of any negatives that will come from it, honestly. Like, it would be phenomenal. Like, it will be really good for you, especially coming from somebody who, like, my health was terrible. And honestly, I don't even know how. When I think about it, I'm like, wow, you did that? Because my level of eating meat surfaced. I can't explain to you guys how much I loved it, but it makes a huge difference on your body, man. So yeah,
it does.
just try, one step at a time. You'll see the difference. You'll be like, wow, even if you do 1 day a week or something, just try and make the switch to natural. See how you feel. Give it a chance too, as well, because I find that people will do things for a week and be like, oh, it's not working. It's not going to work like that. It's not a chemical. It's not in the same way. Not that kind of chemical. Give it time, and see how you feel afterwards, and then let us know.
Yeah, definitely. And like always, ladies and you few guys, follow us on all of our platforms at the Pow Podcast. We appreciate you for coming and spending this time with us, and we will see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Be healthy.